got to throw some cold water on the situation.
Start talking about nerd stuff.
Hit me!
Episode 296.
This is NetHeads.
He's got to throw some cold water on the situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
Wow. Holy cow. That was the abbreviated open. And plus, it was an opening that was Will having fun with typing. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
If you want to take part in the program, you can. One of many ways. Trent, why do you tell them that about that while I adjust your camera angle and pretend like nothing's going on?
Yeah, so easy. Just use the hashtag NetHeads in Twitter, or on Twitter if you're typing into the Twitters. Whatever, and you can join us. You can join in. We will not be tweeting out any spoilers. And as we're talking about spoilers, not yet, but later on in the show, you can. I don't know. Can they tweet? I mean, hey, it's a
look. We can't control what happens.
It's a free
on
republic, so
we
do what you want.
Trent, we can't really. I'm doing something testing it out right now. I'm just making it on the fly. We can't predict what'll happen anywhere except for the safe space within our voices, or if you've gone to netheadsonair.com/live, you may have been following along on Facebook or on YouTube, none of which are monitored. So really, what we're saying is, unless you're seeing us or hearing us, you can't trust what's out there, folks. We don't know what's going to happen. So, as a matter of fact, when we are ready to talk about it, that's what you're literally watching me format on the fly right now. Because hey, why not?
Because
it will display.
Because like all good professional journalists,
we'll
do it live.
Exactly. There'll be that little moniker you see above.
Play it out. What does that mean?
You see it above, hopefully, Trent's head right now. That'll show you we're in the spoiler zone. Yeah, it's above your right hand, Trent. If you look at that, it's wow. It's like we're having our own game show now. But let's disengage that right now.
Yeah, because we're not ready for that.
No, not yet. No, we're not. Anyway, welcome. Also, I'm not opening the phone lines. I just don't think it's.
Yeah.
It's not one. It's just something I don't need to bring into the mix. No offense, guys. Ordinarily, would love you to take part by using @NetHeadsOnAir via Skype. But
just tweet at us if you want to.
Because this way,
#NetHeads.
Yeah, because this way we're just able to focus on the task at hand, as well as just making sure that. We get all our thoughts out. Like, Trent, you're not going to believe this. I'm going to diverge for a moment.
You don't say.
Two fun events that have popped up recently. And, I don't know if you recall, supposedly we are a tech podcast, right?
Tech podcast.
Yeah, he still says that at the beginning, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could tell you some tech stuff. You said the task at hand, and all I could think of was my damn quarter-inch adapter is stuck in my task cam right now.
Oh no, that's a bummer.
Yeah,
boy, these are just podcasting world problems. Hey, so what I wanted to say is fun little development. Once again, convincing me that I can never, ever, ever. And I shouldn't say this in this manner, but I'm probably going to be out of the Kickstarter game because you remember back in the day I used Kickstarter and I got the Pebble. Time watch, right?
Oh, you mean as far as as a backer, not as in crowdsourcing.
Yeah,
for
just not for those, because as you can remember, I made this.
You were
an
early adopter.
Yeah, and they went out of business. And then I made the stupid decision to get the Anki Vector robot, because naturally, why would I put away for college savings instead? No. I've got a little robot.
Robot.
Anki announced today or at least the news is breaking that they're having layoffs. They did not close the next round of funding, and they are closing.
Well, here's the thing, dude. Business model based on fan support, not a sound business model.
Not unless you really have a name. But again, it sounds like they were dabbling in the whole, venture market capital business to kind of keep going, and they really did put it all out there this Christmas with like displays and commercials and everything else for marketing the Vector robot. And realistically, I thought, wow, that's a bit extreme. I would have gone more novelty approach in some way, I think, because they did a lot of production. They pushed a lot of stuff out. So they're going to be closing. So that's a bit of a bummer. And the fun thing is, I think this little thing somehow relies on some cloud-based services again. So, although it'll be interesting to see, they did release an SDK for it. So it'll be interesting to see how it might potentially move on, or somebody will sweep in and buy the asset. But when every one of you that said, "Why the hell would you get such a stupid thing?" and I said, "Because it's a robot," that's not a good buying decision, Trent.
But it's a robot, Will.
It is.
That learns.
It is. Hopefully. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he evolves over time without any other further development or support. It's like, oh gosh, there he goes. He's dry humping the power strip again.
He just can't. He's just trying to jump over it, Will. He's just trying to jump over it.
Just hit him with a magazine.
Get the squirt bottle.
No, that would be bad with the robot. Anyway, another interesting tidbit that I remember hearing, but I really don't have much information on, but apparently Apple is officially moving podcasts to an independent app on the Mac OS system as well now.
Oh, finally.
Right, so it'll run just as an independent podcast application, and you'll be one less step burdened by anything iTunes.
Yeah, because that's super interesting. I wonder if Google Play will follow suit. Because they still have it's within Google Music, but it acts as a wholly separate part of Google Music. For in the Google for like Google Podcasts, if you're listening through Google Music. So that's interesting. I hope it will also allow for a better submitter and creator interface, because holy Lord, Apple has never figured that out.
Dude,
dude, we've been podcasting for like what, 8 years, and it hasn't changed. It has been the same basic HTML form interface that sucks. And it's always a guessing game as to how they're going to read the feed and everything. So it gives me hope. Maybe they'll do better.
It gets even. Well, hold on. It becomes even more interesting when you also have access to things like a creator podcast network, right? And because then you're into site management in a way with iTunes, so you're using one interface. But if you need to manage smaller ones or anything else, like podcast submission is tied to the iTunes or Apple ID. And you have to submit through, you click on this interface and that interface. And so it gets confusing between those things. And
the fact that you're submitting an RSS feed and as you're trying to build a network, you've then got to build your site subdirectories in a way that it reads the RSS feeds as an umbrella, right? Like, ugh.
Right. I honestly,
sure, you may have invented the podcast, Apple, but holy Lord, it's, you got to get your shit figured out.
Well, okay, sir. I'll default to you on that one. I'm not. I don't want to upset the gods, Trent. Hush.
Sorry. My bad.
Now I wonder how many
just drop off the internet.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not like anybody's watching probably anywhere. So us being live doesn't really matter, but there may be people like listening after the fact that on the podcast that are just like, hey, quick little something. I kind of came here looking to hear your guys' thoughts on something, and not
Ooh.
about tech stuff.
Yeah, I got some thoughts.
Yeah, I do too. Oh wait, I hope we're talking about the same thing.
Well, I mean, just chalk it up. Chalk it up. We've got our tech stuff in, right?
Oh yeah. I say move on, but
Yeah.
the thing I want to do is I want to start off telling about your charming journey, because you took the time to at least get in what you may consider the bare minimum ahead of the movie. And
Yeah.
you actually took in Captain Marvel on Saturday and then
Yes.
Endgame on Sunday.
Captain Marvel on Friday
oh,
afternoon.
pardon me. Oh, good. A full
and
day to digest it.
Man, I'm telling you, there were a lot more people showed up to the Captain Marvel viewing than I anticipated.
A lot of people cramming at the last minute, like
There
you?
were a lot of people in my same predicament, apparently, who, I mean, look, I didn't have to sit by anyone, okay, but there were people in there. I was surprised.
Trent's just like, gosh darn it! Now I actually have to put my jacket on my lap.
Yeah, well, usually it's jacket on one side, foodstuffs on the other side, feet like in front, reclined fully so that no one behind me, if there was someone behind me, wouldn't be able to cross their legs or whatever. No, actually, the theaters in Logan, all owned by the same company, the same guy that originally owned or still owns the, what do you call it, the Jazz. Anyway, Larry H. Miller. What am I talking about? Yeah, I went and saw Captain Marvel. There were a lot of people there,
Yeah.
which was fine.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a fun slice of nostalgia, and the part that the only part that really got me, welled up, because I'm a crier, Will.
I'm with you
I'm a
there.
crier.
Buddy, wait until I got stories to tell you.
Oh, and as I've found out, probably the reason I am such a crier, yourself, also a certain man in whose house we play, falls into that. We have a high amount of neural mirror receptors. And so there's opposite ends of this spectrum, right? So
I'm totally lost here.
So I'm just explaining why a possible reason why we're criers. Okay.
Why is that?
Because I don't cry at a lot of stuff, right? It's like movies, TV, books, stuff like that. That gets me crying, right?
Interloper. We got an interloper.
Hey, kiddo.
She can't hear you.
Yeah. You're like, shut the fuck up, Trey.
No. I'm just saying that she's waving at you, and it's nice that you're waving back, but she can't hear you.
Yeah. So anyway, so like if I raise my hand, right, like this.
Also, just sorry. During all of that, I also actually, it's been a while, Trent, but I spilled the lemonade.
Yeah. God damn it.
I know.
Will.
It had to happen eventually before 300. Anyway, as you were saying, you could hold up your hand.
So, like, if you see me hold up your hand, someone with a large amount of neural mirror receptors would feel the inclination to do the same. It's the same thing with like yawning. People that see someone yawn and then they feel like they need to yawn or something like that. Anyway, sociopaths, psychopaths.
So I'm weak-minded, is what you're saying.
Have very few.
Oh.
If any. So it's kind of it's your biological capacity for empathy. Anyway, so yeah, that's why we're criers.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only thing that welled me up was kind of like the female empowerment, and then the scene where, I'm not there's just a lot of good female empowerment and never give up rhetoric used in Captain Marvel. So I cried during that. It was good, and honestly, one of the best, I think, post-credit scenes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, you mean the one with the cat with the flirkin, or the? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was almost
I love that.
was almost as bad as how they trolled us for in Homecoming, where it was just Cap doing the PSA about the importance of patience, even though after waiting a long time, it might not pay off at all.
Right.
Which actually could be an interesting bit of foreshadowing for Infinity War.
Yes.
That's a major stretch. I think I may have hurt my back on that one, but but
Well,
it could be.
We should do more rhetorical yoga. That wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, the only problem I had, I don't know, for some reason I just can't connect with Brie Larson or the way the character is played.
Yeah,
So
I know.
But
Yeah.
I did enjoy the positive message that it had. I loved the Stan Lee cameo.
Oh God. Oh, okay. You're right. Sorry.
And by the way,
The other thing that made me cry
yeah,
was and not just that it was Stan Lee, but the whole everything around Kevin and Mallrats and following his journey, even pre-cinematic universe with Stan Lee.
I forgot to hit the button to tell everyone we're live. Yeah, it was really touching, and of course they got you at the very beginning with the opening credit sequence.
Yes.
Because the Marvel logo is all of Stan Lee's appearances and clips
Yep.
from him in real life, and it's just like, oh, that's good. So that's great. So you got to see that, and you also got to like kind of digest it, and then you came into the Endgame. You went Sunday. I, interestingly enough, went Sunday as well. After I went Thursday with my
Round
daughter.
2. Yeah.
And I do have to say, I have confirmed a fact, Trent, because the first showing I saw it was in one of the, what I'll just call the side cinemas. You know, they don't necessarily
Yep.
hold the largest numbers, they're not necessarily the smallest ones.
The ones they're dedicating to 2D audiences now.
Yeah.
In a regular show house.
Except that they're working the long con, Trent, and I'm going to tell you how.
Go on.
So when I went to go see it in the side theater, much in the same way that I complained about taking my wife to go see Captain Marvel, well, after the fact I saw it in IMAX, I would almost equate the image quality and the sound quality experience that I'm getting to be that of just maybe a few shades brighter than a drive-in movie theater. And a drive-in, and for those of you that don't know what a drive-in experience would
gosh.
be, let me
hard. It's so hard.
let me just put it out there, okay? We're talking about maybe 3 shades brighter, but slightly better sounding than the bootlegs somebody is probably watching right now. Okay.
Yes. Right.
I'm just put it on Front Street. That's probably what it is. I'm not looking for one. Don't get me
When you
wrong.
say brighter, you mean just like but so it makes it even harder to see everything because it's not contrasting well.
Exactly.
Right.
Like
'Cause
literally
everything's brighter. So
literally-
the darks are even brighter.
Literally with Captain America's like white T-shirt or something he was wearing that was light colored at the time, I could see the light fluctuating in there. Like the bulb
like
is just
pulsing. Yeah.
the bulb's
Working
dying
overtime.
yeah. And I have to tell you that I had a big problem with like the first act and a half of the movie, but it was because it really does get in my way from experiencing the movie. And I know that because when I went to go see it on Sunday, it was in this new Dolby Cinema experience. Recliner chairs, and at whatever reason they decide to let the subwoofers below you actually work. At whatever times they determine. It's not like every explosion or every rumble. But and this is Dolby's answer to IMAX, basically. It's a larger image, but the beautiful part too about the experience is every single row has about a 4-foot wall in front of it, but there's plenty of legroom because you got to recline and people have to be able to walk by, right?
Right. Yeah.
So aside from the people immediately next to you, it's you and the screen. You don't even see the heads of the people in front of you.
Yes, that's so nice.
I tell you, and at that point I had seen it. I'm seeing it a second time now, and it was 100% pure, in as bright of a way as it can in the beginning, pure enjoyment from beginning to end. It's almost like the whole Thursday screening didn't happen, and I was anyway. That said, obviously I'm in the bag. I really, really enjoyed Endgame. It had the right amount of stakes. They have an interesting change to a common narrative or trope, if you will, in other types of films. And also it really was, you could just tell it, because I remember that every time I chuckled or was amused, and my daughter was like, why are people clapping for that? When we see an actor that's represented both in this film and had previously been on TV in an MCU-related capacity. Like, I was just tickled pink. And where I'm going with this is the movie is just, it not only is it an excellent culmination to something they've built over all this time. It's not only is an excellent conclusion for me to the story that we saw in Infinity War, but it is just a gigantic love letter and thank you to the fans for, watching all of these movies and being there for this experience. Oh, and by the way, too, I can also tell you the fan event screening definitely has a different type of audience than Sunday morning at 11:15 in the luxury theater seats.
You mean the greatest time to see all movies? On Facebook, someone asked me if I'd seen it, and I was like, no, I'm probably going to go on Sunday morning. And his response was, oh, you know about Logan's best kept secret then. Everyone's at church, right? Or they're not awake. It's the best. It's so good.
And mind you, our screening was sold out. But the thing that when tickets originally went on sale, this particular theater's or screen, if you will, in the complex, Megaplex, it had just recently been upgraded, and I'm sure they were targeting it, but it was not confirmed to be ready by the time they were doing the Avengers Endgame pre-sale tickets. So they came available well after the fact. And I would literally on Friday night, I was able to book tickets for Sunday morning in the exact seats I wanted. And most of it hadn't been sold out. So that is probably going to be that particular theater's little secret too. Or people are like, I'm not going to pay for the upgrade. I'm still working on that coupon where I've been getting free movies through Adam. Yeah. So
yeah.
Anyway, what was your take on it? I kind of provided as vague of a as a bit as I can about the movie.
Yeah, I will riff off what you say, and I will agree with you. I think that it's a good movie. I think it is more a love letter to the fans, to the actors, to everyone involved, both as a participant in buying a ticket and those who worked on it. I think it is that first, and then a good movie second, because it's not a movie that someone could just plop down and watch that hadn't seen anything else.
Definitely, even
more so than the one prior. I think.
I think a great tweet I saw was at over 3 hours, I'm not sure I can take another minute of my boyfriend explaining Avengers Endgame to me.
Yep.
So don't be that person, though. Don't be the person to go with somebody and not know anything about the film. Definitely, for sure.
Or just enjoy it and ask questions later.
Yeah, exactly. And mind you, I didn't have any issue with the people next to me. It seems like usually my wife or my daughter somehow get stuck to the bad person. Not the bad person, but they would definitely have enough points to go to the bad place.
Yeah.
Rather than the good place. Best show on TV. So I would agree with you. You probably just can't sit down and watch it, even though they do try and give you little bits of info that could kind of carry you. You see something happen. There's even some wonderful exposition, which technically I think everyone has kind of seen already in some preview clips that came out. But once again, another thing we definitely can confirm is, as always, Trent, in the trailers, they lie to you. They lie to you.
Do.
They omit facts, which messes me up to go back and look, and because you're like, hey, and in some ways, Trent, do we just got to slip into it?
You know what? That's what I always try to do. It usually doesn't work, but
I don't know what's wrong with my words tonight. They are for some reason failing me. Folks, I'm going to fire off the signal. We're going to put up the banners. You still have time to eject, though. We're now going to go into the spoiler zone. So,
spoiler alert.
That's going to count us down. You have all this time to, you can still turn back.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And unfortunately, we can't warn you, prior to the fact, so we'll at least throw up the words so when somebody pops up, they will see spoiler zone. We've done everything we can, Trent.
Yes.
To make it plain as day. We're going into details now.
We are.
Right?
Yes.
So, I don't know if somebody wants to... and let me tell you, here we go. This is it. Last chance. Hit
Spoiler
pause
alert.
and come back later.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Trent was having so many tech issues at the beginning of this thing, I was able to recut that so it made more sense right before the show. Trent, when I did the live show with Odin, where I talked about this wonderful shield I have fabricated
Yes.
out of foam, and I keep showing it, and I probably will for the rest of time. I mean, I've got to figure out a way to hang it up behind here with the photo now, or with the painting my daughter did.
Yeah.
When I did that show with Odin, just to talk about his making of a weapon, and which was Thanos' weapon, his crafting project, and kind of talk about my experience with mine, and talk a little shop. It was an interesting creators episode, I guess you could think of.
Yeah.
Some absolute moron posted legit spoilers in the Facebook comments of that video.
Nope. Mm-mm.
They're gone now. They are banned. They don't follow, and it's just like you just came to just be an a-hole.
Yeah.
They're banned. Like they're gone. Gone. Never will have to worry about NetHeads again. Which who does anyway? But but still, I was so disappointed by that when I went into the movie the first time, and maybe I was probably stewing about that too, because I had worked so hard to be completely spoiler free, man.
Yeah.
I wanted no details, and to
Yeah.
have that happen and then confirmed it was right. And even worse, I had said something about them to my daughter in the car, so they were in her head too. Bummer. It's like an infectious
I was
goddamn
just gonna
disease.
say, you're spreading. It's
Right.
spreading.
So that was a bit of a bummer, but you still have to. If J. Michael Straczynski taught us anything with Babylon 5, it's that you can see the destination or know some of the marks on the way, but you still have to take that journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To traverse the story. So I just got to say, the way they started it, and this splits up between the exact two experiences I'm talking about. The first time I sat in there, when it opens with Hawkeye doing the arrow thing with his daughter, and then she goes to get it in dust, and then he turns around to talk to the family. They're gone.
Yeah.
He's just lost everything. To the left of the target, in that shot, you can see some of the dust blowing in the breeze.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't make that out at all at the first screening. I went to.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
So-
dude, you gotta change up that theater then.
Yeah. So if you it's the Dolby Cinema thing all the way. I may have
But
to start.
I could see it.
Thank goodness for you. That's good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my eyes because I could see it on the higher def screen. It was just beautiful, man. Seeing it on that big, beautiful screen made not only seeing it more enjoyable, but really helped pay off the battle scene at the end.
Yeah.
Which
Oh, for sure.
that was so great in detail. Now, Trent, I don't know about you. For me, there are a lot of things I love that they did in this, not only because they do have many callbacks. Like one of them is a scene between Cap and Bucky when they're on the platform. And this just goes to the testament of the love letter thing. Cap says to Bucky, "Don't do anything stupid while I'm gone." And Bucky says
right.
back, how can I? You're taking all the stupid with you. In Captain America, the first Avenger, those lines were switched. So it was
Right.
it was Bucky saying to Cap, "Don't do anything stupid," because he doesn't want him to go try and enlist again.
Right.
And that just I had just watched on Sunday or Saturday. I watched First Avenger again just so I could kind of refresh, because I really hit all the basics along the way. Thor, didn't go back to Dark World, but guess who's going to end up getting that now?
Yeah.
I found things like that completely endearing, but the overall ideas that they ran with in the story I liked, because like one of the things I presented in talking about this is like the possible existential crisis of having no longer existing, but then existing again. But you can't say that kind of thing when you're talking about what they literally name dropped in there, space magic.
Yeah. The audience laughed when he Thor said that.
Yeah, and because really that's what it is.
Or no, Ant-Man says it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't matter because it's true. The rules don't apply. And the other interesting thing, folks, there's time travel involved, okay? It's out there.
Yeah.
Let me just say again, we're in the spoiler zone. The letters are up there. But if you haven't seen Kevin Smith's recap, then you shouldn't definitely be proceeding with this. The dusting thing was hard to see. It was also brutal seeing them attempt to do something again and fail. But you almost think that scene could have been the end of Infinity War as well, potentially. Instead of the prologue for this movie, that could have been, because imagine how that ending would have been, because they did say that they were considering a different ending. And if they had taken us to that point.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't, though, because that's kind of the only action in the first act and a half.
Mm-hmm. And I think
is that scene.
And I think if you're a 3 or 4 star general in your subscription to Ralph Garman's Ralph Report, I'm not sure which level, but you can check it out, ralphreport.com. They made mention, and Ralph said this. He said, it was just, I should have pulled the clip so it could be his voice. It's so ballsy that within the first 10 minutes of the movie, they do exactly what you think the entire movie is going to be.
It's going to be about, right, yeah.
Nope, we killed Thanos, now we're moving on. Spoiler, there's one. The other thing I love in this movie, without talking about the full story about it, every one of the Avengers movies, I used to say has an Avenger versus Avengers fight, but there's kind of gray lines on who aren't Avengers, if you will. Although that question is certainly answered by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You always have a scene which is basically good guy versus good guy. And this one had what would be the culmination of these stories, the best one to have, literally Captain America fighting Captain America.
Yes. Oh, so good.
Because I was thinking afterwards, I'm like, wait a second, did we not get that moment this time? And it's like, oh, no, wait, we did.
Yeah, and it was so great. Like, there are so many nods. The whole time you're in the elevator, you're thinking, oh, we're gonna get a replay of Civil War, right? The whole time, and then it doesn't happen, right? Like, you're like, oh shit.
And
it was the best fight scene of the whole movie. And it's going down.
Nope. And isn't it also kind of an odd? I don't know if it's a wink to the fact that we had this storyline with a Captain America that had been a Hydra plant the entire time.
Yes, right. Yeah, yeah.
What was it?
Yes.
It was like 2 years ago. People were freaking out because Captain America was saying "Hail Hydra."
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And here we go. He uses that, and there's also even, and you got to give it up to Chris Evans, because there is just the tiniest slight bit of a confident smirk that he's just walking right out with what he came for.
Yeah, so great. Oh, another one in reference to Cap, right? The first time we hear Sam Wilson's voice, the dialogue is inversed again, right? Where he says, "Cap, can you hear me?" He's like, "Sam, is that you?" He says, "On your left," right?
Yep.
Back to First Avenger.
Yep.
Where he's doing laps around
Winter Soldier,
the mall.
my friend. Winter Soldier.
Is it Winter Soldier? Yeah. Where he's doing laps around the mall, like, so good. But yeah, I appreciate that, and that's where, I think it really does like pay off as a fan, right? And that's what's so crazy about the MCU, man. Like, so many people in my office freaking would never read a comic book in their life. But are like so invested in the MCU and the television universe as well, like have just dived in full bore to where it's like their fandom now. It's their thing.
Yeah.
Which is so cool that like these characters have now found a second life, a third life in the a piece of culture that otherwise would be wholly alien.
I think the only thing that bums me out about the whole thing is that I don't know that there can be and I'll choose my words carefully, cinematic cultural experience like this again. This is something, and I say that because not only the overall with everyone kind of being into it, crashing websites to buy tickets and the like, I don't know. I mean, and I hate to say it, the closest we may have is going to be dropping in December with The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Yeah, but
But not even to that, not even to
it's
this
not,
level.
Yeah, I know. It's because the trilogy is so polarizing, right? Like, some people just will not give the prequels a break, right? Like, they're just it ruined their childhood.
You know,
And there's no part of the MCU that is so polarizing like that.
right. And to me, Trent, you know, I got to say the prequels, they're just like the nice people that I was stuck with at table 12 at the Howitzer's wedding. You know, I was able to, you know, to get through the time there, and I don't need to ever see him again.
Yeah. Yep. Because when you rewatch them, you're just like, oh man, he was right.
And I was thinking,
And unlike my son who hanged himself in a convenience store bathroom, we're gonna be stuck with the prequels forever.
oh my God, what is that line from? Please provide context.
It's from Red Letter Media's prequel
Oh Lord,
recap.
those things were creepy.
Yeah, every time you watch the prequels, you just realize, like, holy shit, he was right.
Anyway, they, you got me broken now. I was thinking about it, though, the way people kind of had a issue with Last Jedi. I was thinking if you compare, I don't even know why I never made this connection before, because you have these divergent storylines, just like in the Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
One of them is a space journey. The other one is a planet-based training. The only difference is the nature in which the car race is happening, or Empire Strikes Back was more like Smokey and the Bandit, whereas I don't have a connection here. The Last Jedi is more like the movie Speed. Okay, so
okay. I thought you were going to say Cannonball Run.
Oh, that would have been a much better comparison, I think.
Okay.
Thank you. Next time, just if I'm struggling, just jump on in, because clearly, kid, you got the chutzpah and you got the skills we're looking for. So you just go ahead and pitch in anytime you need there, buddy.
Sure, so do what I can.
You really should. But yeah, Cannonball Run would have been a good comparison. But other than that, I mean, there are a lot of parallels in the story they're telling and the things that are happening. So I just thought it was kind of, you know, aside from the funky twist ends, let's get back to Avengers Endgame, shall we?
Yeah, very interesting how, because they haven't developed the Fantastic Four, which I'm assuming is now going to be in Phase 4 of the MCU, that they use this Captain Marvel in place of, which in the comic books essentially is Silver Surfer.
Mm-hmm.
In all the Infinity stuff, it's always Silver Surfer that's able to come in, the big 1-2 punch to take everything down, and she filled that role greatly, I thought. But a little jarring because we haven't really seen the extent of her power until then.
True.
Even in Captain Marvel, we haven't seen like how powerful she is.
Well, she is plowing through things, and clearly she's invulnerable. Okay, look, I don't want to get into this pedantic kind of level of detail, man.
But yeah, like she you know, she like takes out a starship that's miles wide.
Yeah,
like,
that
by herself.
Yeah, and you know, I think the headbutt from Thanos, and she doesn't even flinch.
Right.
It doesn't even change. That tells you something. I liked that element, though. I mean, of course, I think everyone would say, I would like to see her a little more involved, but basically with the story they were telling anyway, there wasn't really a point to drag her in anywhere in there.
Yeah, yes, I agree. I think if I were to see it again, I would probably buy a ticket and then show up for the last hour.
I would still, having seen it 2 times, I still say the whole thing is a good experience. It was much better in the second screening I had. I was and because I think partially because your mind now isn't trying to absorb the story they're telling. Now you're able to have a more passive mental experience.
Just sit back and enjoy it.
Exactly. Like, because I realized I'm going to be sleeping alone the rest of my life now. I was literally like this a lot of the time because I was just so eager to be told the story that the second time, it's a much better viewing for me. It was just stellar. I will try and not belabor that point anymore.
It was interesting, the pacing of the film. Way different pacing than all the other films.
Well, I still think they were running with a pretty complex story, and they kind of had to do the one thing that we still haven't seen in quite a while, and that's get all these people in the same place and working together again. And
right,
they provided comedy exactly where it's needed, because you're traversing a bleak universe with half of the living everything there, and everything else is gone.
Yeah, and I like how that was how. I mean, because there's two ways you could have taken Thor's reaction to it all, right?
Oh yeah,
like as an audience member,
right?
It could have been just bleak and sad and but instead they made it funny. Out of what is a very bleak and sad reaction that he had to it all.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where he's even wearing the same Big Lebowski sweaters and stuff.
And I wanted to know your reaction to that as a fan, especially considering I've heard him dubbed as he's the big Thorbowski.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I loved it. I freaking I loved it so much. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was interesting the way he kind of I loved his connection with Freya. That was beautiful, from a storytelling and plot and characters and everything, because that's been an ongoing theme for Thor, is dealing with the loss of his mother and everything. Valkyrie had a minimal part in Ragnarok, and so it was just interesting to see him hand over the kingdom. Yeah, here you go. You're the queen.
Yeah, why not? I mean, but they're kind of like not what they were before anyway. You're overseeing a bunch of people in a fishing village, Trent.
Sure, and
sure they do have some gold palace in the back or something.
Yeah. That was interesting to me. I would like to see that fleshed out more. And again, the watching it, just like the last one, only made me want more Doctor Strange.
Yeah, definitely.
Give me more Doctor Strange.
So, one of the other things that I really enjoyed about this, one, we finally got to see Professor Hulk.
Right. Yeah.
Right. We've got David Banner living as in a Hulk body, with all the Hulk benefits and doing smart science stuff.
Yeah.
So that's just like something people have been wanting to see, and was a great ad. I think, though, the other thing that I really enjoyed was the way they took the common trope of the time travel movie.
Oh, yeah.
Or time travel elements, and they've just said, look, here's the thing. It doesn't matter what you're doing in the past, because as an element of the now, you're just traversing to it.
Right.
And then, once you're gone, at least my interpretation is, once you've gone through that journey, you can't change the past, because it's now part of your present, which, becomes your past. So time is just a big funky thing. And they also established as well that it's important that all the Infinity Stones are in the main reality, because in a way they safeguard it and stop alternate realities from branching off.
Right.
But then one of the Russo brothers just said, well, to hell with that. Yeah, because here's one of the elements, after everything has happened, Cap goes back to 1940 after doing everything he needs to do, and he just lives a life, which I'm okay with. But
I love that. I love that.
But, now one of the Russo brothers is like, yeah, he created an alternate reality there, so there might be a story there, especially how does he get there with the shield, from an alternate
and without
reality.
the hammer. Right,
but again, first, no space magic, but you definitely have the quantum realm. So again, any rule can be applied. Doesn't matter.
Totally.
The quantum realm is
Deus
another
Ex
MacGuffin.
Machina.
Yeah, it's there, and it can be whatever you want. Before it was like trippy psychedelic layers. Now it's something they can navigate to use as a time bridge, if you will.
Which I like. I mean, we all had to anticipate some sort of time travel being involved, right?
Yeah,
Whether
because
it be
Janet
through-
Van Dyne and Ant-Man and the Wasp said, don't slip into a time vortex. We won't be able to save you.
Right, yeah, and whether we thought it was going to be through the Time Stone or the Infinity Gauntlet or whatever, but I appreciated the they didn't take the easy route and went with the quantum realm as opposed to just like magic, or you know what I mean. Like it was nice for me, at least, something that I didn't see coming right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just that's it.
Well, I like the way they did that because they kind of make that sound normal, and then the director goes and says something and screws my whole perception of it up. But basically, I think the whole thing that they were trying to convey is, look, just don't even think about it because
just enjoy it.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's that. And once you accept that, you get to have this whole time experience and the fun that it kind of represents. Because again, you need a lot of levity here, but they still slip bits of heart in there. You know, I personally love
my
the
God,
scene
yes.
between Tony Stark and Howard Stark as a person that's lost his dad, and it's like
so good
to have one moment to actually say goodbye and give him a hug, which, you know, like that's the whole thing of Civil War, what it basically boils down to. Well, that, and of course that, you know, Winter Soldier killed his mom too, so like double how. But going into the viewing of Infinity War before going to see Endgame, I realized basically every hero, the whole reason they're not talking was the Sokovia Accords, and every one of them just pissed all over the Accords at the beginning of that movie because, you know, it didn't even get into the part that Cap says about it. It's like, well, what happens if, you know, there's something we need to do, but they won't let us, or worse, you know. And sure enough, things are going down. Nobody's asking permission at all.
Yep, at all.
But getting back to this movie, I enjoyed those elements for his travel back because I thought that was a fitting send-off to this guy who, as I've said here on the show, he's just much like Thor. He has just had nothing but loss and disappointment.
Yeah,
Everything he's believed in has not been what it's supposed to be, and you know, like it hasn't been that long for him that he was in love with Peggy Carter before going down in the ice. A whole bucket of suck there. So him, you know, finally, and again, this is kind of a payoff. He gets his dance with Peggy Carter finally.
Dude, just so all the tears for me at that point. Like, thank God there like weren't any like civilians sitting next to me, because they would have been free. Like, what the hell is wrong with this homeless man that wandered in here?
From the moment the big three come around the bend to awaiting Thanos, partway through that fight, the waterworks started at my first viewing, and I don't think they stopped.
Yeah, it was when Thor when Cap picks up the hammer.
That's
like,
what I wanted to know your reaction to.
The second that happened, tears all the way to the very end of the movie. And it's I've tried to explain this. It's not like sadness. Some of them were sad tears, but it's more just like my body can't take all the stimuli that's happening right now.
They are giving you too much, like literally.
Yeah.
He's holding Mjolnir and he's worthy of wielding it, and your brain just explodes.
Yeah. And it's like fandom meets and nostalgia is now struggling with like having like all these things that I've only seen in comic book pages now happening in real life in front of me. And then there's all the like the fuck yeah moments of just like the music swelling and like, and the action's so good, and just like my body is just like, this is how I'm gonna react right now because I don't know what else to do. And
I don't know how else to cope.
Just flowing out of me. Either that or I had to pee really bad, and that was like a defense mechanism that my body has.
Coming out.
I just there's so much water it has to leak.
I didn't have that problem. I didn't have stuff like 2 hours before the movie, and we got a free drink at the fan screening, and I barely sipped it. Yeah, for me, it was just the joy of seeing all this. Not to mention the fact that nobody's not taking it seriously on film.
Yeah,
you know, if
right.
you think about it, even from the original Avengers, when you see Cap's outfit in those are still people that they're like, well, we hope it's going to work. And we hope this updated costume is cool because we're trying to, get a comfortable ground in between what could really be done versus what's on the comic page to this, where it's just everyone's taking it seriously. And that final battle sequence, because, surprise, surprise, their time heist thing works. And even though they do lose an Avenger, they're able to somehow wield the stones in an Iron Man inspired glove, and the Hulk snaps everyone back into existence. And I tell you, when they came around the bend and they started that fight, the first screening when I saw it. By the way, the moment it was shown that he was wielding the hammer, mind you, my 15-year-old daughter is sitting next to me. It
A
took
guy dressed as Captain America.
No, just the shirt and the shield. I was not allowed to leave the house otherwise. But the shield on my lap, sir. Of course, naturally. With her sitting, oh wow, okay, this just went really wrong, really fast. Let me reiterate. Let me take away the shield joke. Thank you. Just erase that.
Yeah.
Snap that away, if you will. My 15-year-old daughter next to me, when that happens, it is taking every bone in my body to refrain yelling out, "F him up, Cap!"
Yeah.
At that moment.
Yes. Yeah.
And in some cases, I there were yeahs and claps too. But that was, again, I fall back to something I don't know that we will ever see again, because it's finally, the moment they started fighting him and things were going south, my brain just started in overdrive, yelling in the back of my head, "Where's everybody else? Where's everybody else? Where's everybody else? For gosh sakes." And just to have the way it culminates, because even though Cap gets to wield the hammer, eventually he does get a beat down. The Thanos is smacking him with his double-sided butter knife, and he breaks the vibranium shield, something that, just like in the comic version of Secret Wars, you're like, this can't happen, and there's no fixing it. From that moment, for Thanos to make his speech, and naturally at that point, Cap's like, I could do this all day, in the back of his head, not making fun of himself for it like he does early in the movie.
Right.
And he's just like, okay, no matter what, I'm still going out trying to bring this guy down, as he has, basically ushered in all hell and bedlam in soldiers and everything else, like we saw at the end of Infinity War, ready to release itself on the world in a vengeful manner. At that very moment, the question is answered, because like you said, it's like, click, click, Cap, can you read me? It's Sam, can you hear me? And then on your left, and suddenly from an obvious sling ring portal comes out walking Black Panther, Shuri, and I can't remember the name of the lady that's the bodyguard, and a badass. They come walking out. And then just portals start opening everywhere, and characters and supporting harmonies and everything else are all coming out at once.
Yeah.
And they even make a joke of it, because somebody says, "Is that everybody?" And Wu says, "What, you want more?" Just seeing seeing all these people all these people coming together, just to raise a big middle finger at Thanos, and we're seeing it on the screen, and it is literally every hero. And even if you look at the right moment, you see Howard the frickin' Duck in the background.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. Like there's a scene where both sides are like literally just like clashing together. Mm-hmm. That's a comic book splash page.
It is, especially the way they pull it back and they give us almost everybody, just kind of like the freeze frame in Age of Ultron.
Yeah,
but to such a higher extreme. And Trent, that one moment, if I had held it together until then, all hope would have been lost, because through a gritty, I'm going to talk about this, through a gritted mouth, Cap just says, he says it loudly, "Avengers, long beat, assemble."
Yeah, dude. So perfect.
There's a reason I had to cut to you real quick. There's a reason I had to cut to you real quick. I just got seriously, I got goosebumps again, just because as a fan, hearing that happen, because like in my age, I didn't really follow the Avengers, but like this instantly takes me back to childhood in the original limited Secret Wars run. right?
Yep.
Because it's the things we've always wanted to see. All the heroes and all the villains are going at it. In this case, it was just Thanos in this gigantic story in that was inspired by this gigantic comic book event that even when you're just a Spider-Man reader, you couldn't get away from, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
To see that all rendered on screen, you're like, this is my childhood right in front of me, and this is like Christmas over and over again, a whole entire Christmas day without the awkward family dinners condensed into each and every second you're watching on screen.
yeah.
I don't know. Again, we'll see anything like it. And then also, the other big spoiler, I think, and you may have other elements you want to talk about, but, we got to wrap up soon anyway, is that it also, we once again look from a high level now, and we see that this entire chapter leading up to the end of Infinity War, or Endgame, is the gigantic character narrative, the redemption journey of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
What started
Right.
out, because you remember, he started out as a completely narcissistic, selfish, I don't care how I'm making money, I'm just making money, bring
Right.
the pain, doesn't matter who it hurts. He was literally a reprobate and a scoundrel.
Yeah.
And then to eventually take him to the point where he literally is the man that saves the universe
Yeah.
in a selfless act. That was just just that part of what carries you all the way through the end with Waterworks when you're a, tubby emotional guy like me, I guess.
Oh, dude. Speaking of Waterworks, how about when Peter swings in and just hugs him?
Oh, and
My God,
which
dude.
is like a callback from Homecoming with the awkward moment in the car. It's like, no, we're not. Or, I'm not hugging you. We're not there yet. I'm just trying to open the door.
Yep.
And instead, it's Tony reaching out and giving him a hug. Oh, it's
Yep.
just. Well, the moment he just swung back onto screen,
Oh, right. Yeah.
you could hear an audible
Absolutely.
sigh in the theater too, because there were a lot of people that dusting really cut deep in Endgame.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I remember walking out of the theater and seeing like all these tweens just like completely destroyed and wrecked and just like
Mm-hmm.
they got their redemption. Oh, and how great was him slinging onto Mjolnir. And
Oh
having
yeah,
that drag him, man.
Not only that, but
Ah.
hey, Queens, heads up.
Yeah, right? Like, oh my God,
Well,
from
and-
Cap.
And he's literally hopping in that scene, quite literally from person to person at times.
Yep.
Which is not only a wonderful bit of fan service in giving us some Spider-Man action, the way this kid is being helpful while hopefully not being as at risk. The callback to Homecoming with the instant kill death mode,
Yes. Yep.
enabling that, so we really got to see
Yeah.
what it looked like.
Yeah, which is the Iron Spider suit from the comics. And as a father, I don't know. I just think like I'm projecting onto you how awesome it is to be able to sit in a movie and then to see the driving defensive line that makes Spider-Man's delivery of the gauntlet possible. A defensive line of the most badass females the galaxy has ever effing known, dude.
All right there, coordinated in one big movement.
Oh, that freaking tour, like, again, I
Yes,
don't know how to freaking process
having a
it, so
daughter,
the
I
tears
was
just flowed, dude.
Having a daughter, I was thrilled to see that moment and know that my daughter was seeing that moment, because you want them to.
Yeah.
It's good to see a positive cultural influence, and of course the
Totally.
funny thing is, I wonder if there are other people in other parts of the country getting triggered because now they got their Me Too right up on my screen.
Oh yeah, they're pissing me. Yeah, no, there are. I'm sure. There's a few Discord channels that have been set up specifically just to rage on that.
Yeah, I was suitably impressed with it, and I did love the end credits being the title card for each character and the actor's signature kind of going over that as if they're giving us one last
Yeah.
autograph in the part. Not to mention helping to fuel a counterfeit market well into the 2020s at this point.
Right. Yeah.
But it was really great to see that too. It really was. It was just a wonderful bit of fan wank, if you will.
Yeah,
For lack
it
of a better
was.
way to put it.
Yeah, fan service, man, straight up.
But I don't know. The interesting part though is where do they go from here? But you got to remember, at least one person had an idea at a point to stick Samuel L. Jackson at the end of Iron Man.
Right.
Rolling the dice big. Let's face it. When that happens, and he's there to talk about the Avenger Initiative, do they really know where they're going at that point? Probably not. But they took straw and spun that into gold.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
And almost, except for Age of Ultron, almost everything was a constant evolution and improvement on the product and the storytelling method.
Yeah, for the most part. I'm always, how do I put this? I always feel slighted when a storyteller uses a shortcut in lieu of character development or plot development. And I feel like we got that again with Hawkeye for another misdirect of we're going to kill him off. As happened in the exact same thing in Age of Ultron.
See, I didn't so much have a problem with that. I actually didn't even make that connection. Like, for me, it was just like the moment you saw that they were the ones going to Vormir to get the Soul Stone, you're just like, oh gosh, what a bummer thing that I know that's coming that they have no clue on. Not to mention, what a bummer thing because they're just smiling and laughing and talking about,
oh yeah,
this is a far cry from Budapest or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just for me. It was just a bummer, kind of knowing they were going into that because they've got no reference. Although there was some slight bit of storytelling in, Thanos went there and didn't come back with my sister, but they don't know that that's the reason why.
Right.
And it almost makes me wonder if the Black Widow movie project was nothing but a smokescreen. I mean, I don't think so. That would be the biggest dick move in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's what's so frustrating about it, because we've seen that they are capable of making a badass spy movie.
Well,
in Civil War.
Yes.
But instead we just got like, oh well, he's got a family, and so we care about him now because he has a family out of nowhere. And now he's gone rogue as Ronin, which was super badass. I wanted way more of that. And so he has to redeem himself by sacrificing himself because for all the people that he's like killed out of spite. I don't know. I was like, come on, you guys are better than that.
Okay, I'll give you that. I got no complaints there. It's just Hawkeye seems to continuously get shafted in all of the movies.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Shaft, arrow, shaft, yeah.
See?
Oh, absolutely. Even from his introduction, like you just like, I see you've got your hawk up there, always watching, and that's his introduction. It's like,
yeah, then he slides down a pole and is forced into secondary character position without a lot of screen time.
Yeah, and it's because like Jeremy Renner has got acting chops, man. Let him do some work.
The other thing for me that it's the only reason why I have an issue with time travel in the movie is because they still have a way to do it. Unless Hank Pym just wants to be a dick and he's like, no more Pym particles for you. You're done. You've had your fun. No more meddling. Technically speaking, oh God, this is going to sound so pedantic, but if 2014 Gamora is in 2023 and still out there, because they have Quill looking on the Benatar and it's searching for her,
right?
And there's nothing found. Technically, that means they have a way to bring back Black Widow, because you could still grab her anywhere from the past and bring her forward, because that's exactly what happened to Gamora prior to being tossed for the Soul Stone in Infinity War. Same condition.
Unless she would have dissolved anyway, because that is one that can't be. It's a soul for a soul. It can't, like, who knows? Who knows?
Space magic, Trent.
Yeah,
Space magic.
Exactly.
So,
But it is cool, though,
that is
'cause
that is one of the
now
things that
they-
popped in my head, though. I mean, you
yeah,
could.
but it's good though, because now they do have the established alternate realities, right? And so you can play with that, and so you can have like Bad Thor comes in now, and Bad Hulk comes in now, like they're like, because that box has been opened, which I think now sets up the stage for the next big bad, who I'm guessing, I'm stating it right now, is going to be Kang the Conqueror, who is a time travel villain. Debuted. He is absolutely just an Avengers property. Debuted in the Avengers, and as a time traveler, he now sees how messed up the timelines are because of these guys, and so he's gonna come and like bring the rain down on him for screwing things up.
Okay, I guess I could see that. I mean, you just took that to a whole new level that I wasn't expecting to go to. Hanging it out there like that, kind of a bold move, sir. Bold
Yeah.
move.
I whether or not it'll happen, who knows? But that's if I were running things, that's perfect. Like the stage is set perfectly for a King the Conqueror tie-in somehow.
I think the one thing though that I wasn't expecting, Trent, which of course because we've got the Disney Plus show coming around, we know we're gonna get more Vision there, but I kind of feel stupid in not realizing. Yeah, no, that was one of the costs of the Infinity War was Vision.
Yeah.
He's done. But that was the other thing I did like that they did here when they kind of said that you can't really change the course of events. So it doesn't matter that Thanos of the past comes forward and gets killed because you're still within that existence and you're still experiencing the afterpoint of him having dissolved the stone. So now the stones are returned. So they're kind of back out of play, but still out there, right?
Right. Yep.
Still, there's still a way to get them. So, they still leave other possibilities open, but realistically, Vision's gone. That's it. So, again, but then again, did you hear about the Disney Plus service and everything it's going to offer?
Including,
I'll collect aluminum cans to make that $6.99 a month, my friend.
Oh yeah, like that's a hell of a deal. Sign me up, man.
Yeah, I think I liked either way. It was either on I think it may have been Kevin who just said, if you really want to watch anything you like,
Yep.
give them your $7, and
Yep.
that's probably going to be the case. So anyway, I didn't have I had almost no problems with this movie at all. Although I did feel that the whole thing with Black Widow was kind of a sad, unneeded thing. But so they kind of established those rules and had to stick with them.
Right.
And of course it'll help build interest for the Black Widow movie that is planned and in production. So let's figure out an easy way to build ticket sales. Wonderful.
Oh, I didn't. I was so fixated on Bucky taking over the mantle of Cap. I didn't see the obvious choice being Sam Wilson to be the next Cap.
Well, because it happened in the comics, but it also happened with the Winter Soldier. I was going to ask you, though, kind of a dick move to offer it to Sam in front of Bucky when Bucky has, like, super soldier-esque serum in him. God, nerdiest thing I've said.
Yeah, no, I thought about that. In the comics, he was he took over the mantle of Cap secretly, not letting everyone know that Cap had died, and because he was still wanted for murdering tons of people. And so he only relinquished it when he got caught and went to and was tried.
Yeah,
so
probably
maybe
best,
that's
probably
why,
best not to travel that zone or travel that road.
That's what I figured. I'm good though. I was stoked. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, because now we'll get to see another kind of flying Captain America. My wife actually borrowed my Mini Pops T-shirt that was kind of the new Marvel because it's got Jane as Thor and it's got Miles Morales and then right in the middle is Falcon as Cap with big silvery metal wings to go, but it's a pop cap form so it doesn't look like. Never mind.
Yeah,
not important right now. I'm. What's interesting though, Trent, is I have almost completely forgotten that Far From Home is coming out just in a couple months. Somehow, all I'm considering is like, how can I get in to see it a third time? Maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't. And like you said, when there was the purchasing ticket problems, AMC wasn't worried. Those tickets were going to sell. They had no issues.
Regardless.
We're not going to have
Yep.
leftover muffins, guys. Trust me, we're fine.
Yep.
We're going to sell every one of these muffins and then some. So you were right there because they exceeded globally 1.2 billion over the weekend.
Really? Is that what it is?
500 billion, Trent. I don't know.
Good night. I believe it.
Maybe million. I don't know. I'm bad at the math, and I don't remember. And it doesn't matter. They sold almost all the tickets. There were megaplexes that literally had it on like 90% of their screens. And
yeah. On Friday when I saw it midday, like early afternoon, when I saw Captain Marvel, I said, "Have you guys been pretty full with?" I think they were running it on 3 screens of the 6. And the person working said, "Yeah, we've sold over 2,000 tickets already."
Damn.
Like that day.
For that one day. Oh my gosh.
And it was 5:00 when I got out. So.
Oh, holy moly. Well, there you go. Well, and there were some theaters running at like god awful hours. Like on the from the 25th over to the 26th, even my theater had like 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. showings.
Really?
Yes. That's a lot of pissed off theater workers is what you got there, or at least the regrettable 2 or 3 people that are required to stay. But do you think they keep concession open that late?
No.
No, They're just like you can see the movie, but we don't care about selling you popcorn and Coke right now.
Yeah, I would guess not, but maybe. I don't know, who knows?
I know my theater too. They also seem to have like posters available for people to just take
did
like
they?
little one sheets. Yeah, it was kind of cool. I got the coin. It's not down here from the fan event, but I knew when it was going to be in one of those side theaters, I wasn't going to enjoy it, and maybe I just predisposed myself to it. But you know who I feel sorry for? Also on Thursday night, because the rest of the world probably had to catch up to it, as long as we're in the spoiler zone.
Oh, yeah.
The season finale of the Orville. Have you seen it?
I haven't watched any of the Orville yet, no.
Oh, okay. I'm going to shut up then. There's a lot of cool stuff happening, but I got to feel bad because they told a wonderful story and was a pretty ballsy move to tell the story they did at the end of their second season. Because really, they had, in the season, there are like 2 big moments, Trent, and there are 2 two-parters, essentially. And I don't want to spoil it for you, so I guess we're not really spoiler zoning it anymore. But it was a great story, and the only thing that bummed me out is when I watched it on Friday, thinking how many other people were watching it like me, and it's going to have probably huge delay in viewing numbers.
Yeah, sure.
Because everyone was at an Endgame. But this second season of the Orville, for me, I can't wait for you to see it. I just absolutely thought it was. Have you watched any Orville yet, or was that what you just said moments ago?
I haven't
I've watched
any
nothing
of it yet.
Well, soon there'll be 2 seasons worth to stream, so I'd encourage you to do it. I think you'd enjoy it. When you have that elusive thing, time.
Well, I was just gonna say, there's just so much stuff to watch. Because I watched what's it called? Umbrella Academy. Man, that's a great show on the Netflix too. If you get a chance to watch that.
Speaking of great, on Amazon, I watched the second season of The Tick, and boy, was that a much tighter ride than the first season.
Really? Okay, good.
They had it down to 10 episodes, and it was just a good, coherent, interesting story, and much better. And I love the way they just totally, from pilot to main first season, The Tick, his costume changes between the pilot and the second episode. And literally, he just comes back in a window, and Arthur goes, "You look different." And he says, "Thanks," and keeps moving on in the new costume, not the awkward-looking plaster latex one from the first episode. And then beginning of this season, they did a similar thing. Clearly, they made it more comfortable for Peter Serafinowicz to have something that probably breathes a little better. And in it, they literally have the Tick's costume molting, like chunks of beetle scarab are left behind.
Yeah.
Beetle carapace, I think is what I'm thinking. A great second season. So if you haven't caught those, I'd highly encourage you to get through the first season and then really enjoy the second one. It was almost reached the tolerable meter on my wife for me viewing it. So that might be a ringing endorsement right there.
Right.
Well, I mean, there may have been, some comments about the stupidest crap, I'm just, from her perspective, I thoroughly enjoyed every bit of it. There's even a spoon moment. So
Nice.
Yeah, so be sure to check that out too. But Trent, did you have any parting thoughts to talk about Endgame before we wrap this bad boy up?
Go see it, folks.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. I'm turning off
Again.
that.
Go see it again.
I'm turning off the spoiler notice, Trent. Now we have to talk
Good.
normal then.
Good.
But
Whew.
yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem, especially considering, like I said, there is so much to even take in that movie that I think they've almost built a product that not only does an excellent job of fan service, but has a built-in repeatability factor.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see it again.
Good, yeah, and I guarantee you, I think you'll definitely enjoy it once you're not having to think about the story per se.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, I guess that's it for this episode of NetHeads, especially since I'm spent. I gotta go be a dad, Trent.
Yeah.
You know?
Go be Captain Marvel.
No, Captain America is what I.
Oh.
If you don't know
okay.
what I'm talking
Is what
about.
you're aspiring to.
NetHead WW on Twitter. If you look at some of my posts, you'll know what we've been talking about. Heaven forbid I used the video portion of this to actually show an image, but I'm not that. Forget it, Trent. That's too much production work to go into. Anyway, folks, until next time, I'm NetHead WW on Twitter. He is a part of him. The show is NetHeads on Air, and I guess there's no other way to put it, Trent. Until next time, we'll be back
soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
I think we almost got through that cleanly, in a way.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Not. There's still elements people could see and enjoy, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or not. Who knows?
I don't know, man. It's not my job to track y'all. But you know what? Have a good one.